Hello, my name is Jasmine, ANAK James EMPALING, matrix number 107073. And the artwork I chose is actually a main artwork that is titled Absence Embodied, made in 2018 by a Japanese contemporary artist named Shiharu Chiyoda. The medium of this artwork includes red wool thread, plaster, and bronze cast of human's hand, that is, and metal hooks. It is a large-scale installation designed specifically for the space it's shown, that is, in the gallery. Shota is known for transforming spaces using woven thread, and in this piece, she actually creates an emotionally charged environment that fills the gallery with intricate red webs. So for the descriptions, as we can see in this installation, there are thousands of red threads that are suspended across the room, connecting and intersecting above and around the viewers. In between the threads, we can see that there are casts of human hands that is frozen in motion below the threads, the red threads under the artwork, which symbolize human presence and touch. The red thread is a symbolic of faith, memory, and emotional connection. It transformed the empty gallery into a space filled with meaning and physical tension. So this artwork actually shows how simple materials can be and making it more deeply expressive, and it inspires me to think differently about everyday materials in my own practice. So for techniques and methods, there are manual and collaborative thread weaving anchored with nail and hooks, casting, cast making from real body parts to create lifelike sculptures. High spatial awareness installation requires balance, rhythm, and flow. For the site-specific, it was planned based on the architecture of space. So technically, this artwork involves a lot of physical labor. The threads are woven and anchored by hand, often by a team, and carefully mapped across the space using hooks. The hand sculptures are made using plaster and broadcasting from real human hands, so giving the installation a very lifelike and intimate quality. The layout of this artwork is actually not random at all. It actually requires a lot of strong planning and awareness of the space in order to give balance, rhythm, and density, all playing important roles in how the viewers experience it. So when it comes to viewer perception, the impact of the viewer is that the viewer will feel surrounded and even tangled, emotionally immersive, as the color red evokes emotion, light, and space dominates visually. It also creates tension between emptiness and density, not to forget even presence and absence. So this means that this artwork is actually incredibly immersive when it comes to viewer perception. So when you walk into the space of the artwork, you will feel like you're almost surrounded and trapped in the threads. It will feel very emotional and overwhelming in a very powerful way. This is because the red color immediately draws attention and stirs feelings of passion, memory, or even pain. And that's actually the purpose of the artwork. The dominant elements here are actually line, space, and form, especially how the line of the thread creates a three-dimensional environment. The tension between what's present and what's absent really affects how we interpret the meaning behind the work. For the comparison, I actually chose Chiharu Shiota's man-made artwork, Absence Embodied, being compared to Andy Goldsworthy, that is Rowan Leaves and Whole, that is actually a natural media artwork. While Chiharu Shota uses man-made materials like leaves, thread, plaster, and bronze to create immersive emotional environment indoors, while Goldsworthy worked directly with nature, his piece uses only rowan leaves arranged carefully on water and made completely by hand, without any man-made tools. While Shiota's installation is dense, symbolic, and designed to feel emotional and intense, it explores themes like memory, absence, and human connection. Meanwhile, for Goldsworth artwork, it's actually very quiet, minimal, and actually reflects nature's cycle and impermanence. It's actually designed to disappear, which is a big contrast to Shota's gallery preserved work. So, for this comparison, I wanted to show how both artists actually explore deep concepts, but the choice of materials, man-made versus natural, completely changes how we experience their art. One surrounds us with tension and emotion, while the other actually invites us to pause and reflect on nature and time. For reflections, I actually learned how materiality can tell a story without words, like how Shota actually uses the red threads to express emotions very deeply with the color that is chosen, color red, that, as I said, actually expresses emotions like pain, anger, and so on. It also actually inspires me to explore more installation, special work, and emotional symbolism in art. This also reinforces the power of everyday materials like thread in order to create meaningful and impactful art. Working with Absence Embodied by Chiharu Shota has completely shifted the way I think about material, space, and emotional storytelling in art. What struck me the most is that how something as simple and delicate as thread, a material we often overlook, can be used so powerfully in order to represent something that is complex as memory, absence, and human connection. The installation invites the viewer to not just observe but also feel. It doesn't just rely on traditional storytelling like something that speaks volumes. This actually made me realize how important it is to consider how materials carry meaning, not just in what they are, but in how they interact with the space and the audience. This also actually inspired me to consider using more symbolic materials in my own work, maybe in the future, especially those that connect with personal and emotional experiences. I also learned a lot about spatial awareness and how to think beyond the surface of a canvas or a sculpture. From what I observed, Shota uses the entire room as her medium, transforming and emptiness into something charged with energy and memory. That has encouraged me to explore installation and immersive art, not just creating something to be looked at, but something to be experienced. Comparing her work with Andy Goldsworthy, Rowan Leaves, and Hall also taught me how source of materials, man-made versus natural, can drastically shape the meaning of a piece. It made me more aware of the environmental cultural, and emotional significance of what I choose to use in my future projects. Overall, this research has expanded my artistic thinking, and now I see that materials, space, and audience as a part of the artwork itself, not just as tools, but also as essential elements that shape experience and interpretation. It reminded me that meaningful art doesn't always need complex tools. It just needs honesty, intention, and a connection to something even more deeper.